Yes, interest rates are up, and they're up substantially since then. But Keith, it's not over yet. Uh, Interest rates will go much, much higher because we have printed, not just we, but central banks everywhere have printed huge amounts of money. And whenever you print lots of money, inflation comes, interest rates go higher. And if you print huge amounts of money, inflation gets very high. And that always leads to central banks having to raise interest rates to high levels because they don't know what else to do. In 1980, before you were born, interest rates on simple U.S. government treasury bills, 90-day treasury bills, interest rates were over 21%.
Gosh.
That's not a typo, 21%. Because inflation was out of control and we had to take drastic measures. We may have to do something like that again. First of all, in 1980, America was still a creditor nation. Now we're the largest debtor nation in the history of the world.
Yeah.
The debt's staggering and they go up every week. And the amount of money that's been printed is beyond comprehension. I don't know how they can solve this problem without really getting drastic and taking interest rates to very high levels. Back in 1980, the Federal Reserve had the support of the president. The president told him to do whatever you have to do. The head of the central bank was named Paul Volcker, who was a smart guy, and he knew what he had to do. But he made sure he had political support before he did it. Now, the president did not get reelected because Volcker did what had to be done. We don't have as smart a central bank head now as we did then, and the amount of money that's been printed is overwhelming, and America's debt. We're the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and we were a creditor then. So there are things that are different. So, Keith, I would be worried if I were you. In fact, I am worried, so I'll leave it to you, but I'm worried. Jimmy Carter did say to Volcker, do whatever you have to do, and I will support you. I doubt if Biden would say to the central bank, do whatever you have to do, and I will support you. And I doubt if the central bank, Powell, the head of the central bank now, really comprehends what he's got us into. He kept saying all along, oh, don't worry, everything is under control. The Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, who's got Ivy League degrees, also kept saying, don't worry, everything is under control. We know what we're doing. We do have different people this time. There's not many Paul Volckers that come along in history. The indications are it's going to get worse. And they will not solve the problem until we have a very, very serious problem. I'm not optimistic. Having said that, Keith, I'm not selling short or anything else at the moment. I'm worried about the markets in a year or two. But at the moment, since nobody seems to understand what they're doing at the Federal Reserve or in the presidency, we can have okay times for a while. But the ultimate problem gets worse and worse and worse unless you deal with it. The economy is not bad in the U.S. The economy is still strong. You mentioned jobs. We still have a lot of jobs, etc. Yes, we have inflation, but inflation is not as bad as it was in the 70s. So, and you look out the window, Keith, and everything seems okay at the moment. I'm just worried about what's coming down the road because I know that throughout history, if you print a huge amount of money, you create big problems. Inflation always in the history has led to higher interest rates for a variety of reasons, which I'm sure you understand. And if history's any guide, interest rates are going to go much, much higher eventually. And as you know very well, high interest rates are not good for property, not good for real estate investors. They never have been. Even if you don't have any big debt and you don't have debt problems or mortgage problems or anything, maybe your neighbors do. And if your neighbors have problems, that means their property prices will go down, and that's going to affect you because you're nearby. And everybody will say, oh, that property is collapsing. What about Keith? And Keith can say, oh, don't worry about me. I don't have any debt. They'll say, okay, you don't have any debt, but we can buy property in your neighborhood very cheap because your neighbors have problems. That gives you a problem. Throughout history, when interest rates go higher and higher, it attracts investors and money, and people take their money out of property or stocks or whatever to put their money in safe, high-yielding instruments. You can buy government treasury bills at 21%. That's attractive to a lot of people because it's, risk-free and it's very high return. So as interest rates go higher, it attracts money from other investment classes and other areas. It's pretty simple. I mean, people are not that dumb. We know that if we can get high interest rates safely, we'll do it. And if we have to take a risk in the stock market or something else, we're less likely to do it. So I'm optimistic about agricultural land prices because, agriculture has been a disaster for a long time, Keith. Nobody wants to be a farmer. The average age of farmers in America is 58. The average age of farmers in Japan is 66. I mean, I can go on and on. The highest rate of bankruptcy in the UK is in agriculture. So agriculture has been a disaster worldwide for a long time. And disaster usually leads to great opportunities. If you know how to drive a tractor, maybe you should go buy yourself some farmland and become a farmer. If you like getting hot and sweaty every day, it can be a very exciting way to live. I know that from history, when something gets very bad for a long time, it usually leads to a great opportunity.